We've come to realize that our values are our most important North Star. One of our values that we hold very dear is that it's important to struggle with the idea of America. The idea of America cannot be taken for granted. It embodies both the prophetic vision and legacy of movements that have fought for a full, equitable, broad-based participatory democracy, but also troubling histories of violence, oppression, and genocide. To enact our mission to promote public knowledge-making and collective imagination that really respects people, all people, as fully human and full contributors to creative and intellectual culture, we believe it's especially important to struggle with the idea of America today. So what does it mean to be fully human today in America? A moment when we stand witness to so many moments when people's humanity has been denied.
So you got this wealthy place, Maryland and America, and on the other hand, you've got people at the bottom. And there is the issue. It is the question of inequality. There is where we must go. As we think about imagining America, it is how do we eliminate the gap? How do we at least begin to shrink this issue of inequality? The notion of preparing our students and our colleagues to not be exclusionary, to get out into the communities.
When we talk about higher education, we talk about our students and our young people, we have to talk about those who are disenfranchised, those who can't afford to apply to college, let alone pay the increasingly rising tuition, those who don't have papers to even claim scholarships when they have grades, and those who are locked in prison cells. I want to make the case for education for liberation, for education based on critical thinking, education based on social justice.
That's, to me, what we should be concentrating on, not on keeping people out, but on contributing to the transformative experience that we can give during the higher ed.
I think if we want to make our institutions of higher ed inclusive, if we want to prepare for the demography which is happening in the United States, we're going to have to be much more active in creating the kind of future that we think should be here. I think about all the obstacles still left to kind of get into higher education, to be successful there, to graduate, to become leaders. These are huge issues for the country, and I think, again, we have to imagine a different America. And imagination is not just about the thought process, it's about the action part.
I first heard about Imagining America when it was really just a sort of early idea, and I believed that it was, a bold and passionate idea that public scholarship could really transform the world. But it wasn't really till maybe 10 years later that I attended my first conference that I realized that it wasn't just a bold idea, but it was actually a really broad movement of scholars, of artists, of designers, of activists who really wanted to collectively transform not just higher education, but also transform the world.
Around that time in the mid-90s, Julie Ellison and I launched 2 parallel projects, and they both grew out of a year called the Year of the Humanities and Arts. The very last speaker in this Drop Dead Fabulous Speaker series was the then First Lady, Hillary Clinton. We made a date with her staff, Julie Ellison and I, to have a White House conference on the public role of the arts and humanities. You could feel in this East Wing conference room full of community arts people and college presidents and kind of faculty activists like us, the kind of energy and the hunger for doing something like this. And we came out of it with the idea of some kind of national initiative.
I think one of the things that happened when Julie Ellison and others really came together and formed Imagining America was really to put front and center the notion that arts making in the broadest sense of that and democracy really go hand in hand.
The Imagining America National Gathering is a unique opportunity to come together as our full, critical yet hopeful selves, to imagine new, better ways of living, working, and learning together.
Part of what I wanted to share is a piece that I actually wrote after being like inspired by a lot of stuff, like all the people in this room and like the spirit of why we're here and why we do the work that we do. It's called Living the Freedom Dream, Part 1. From the back alleys and valleys, not the mountaintop, I found beauty in the struggle of those who would not bow or turn the other cheek. The moral interest of my oppressor is not interested in me. I am a revolutionary quilter, thread stretched, thin, and unbroken. Patches torn and together the beauty of one people, our shared soul we mend. The revolution is no place for selfish pride, no place for blind hate. A wall is just a wall, and we are the hammer it fears. Broken bones, torn skin, and time all heal. I am a product of the struggle, and I do know one something that cannot be restored is soul undersold. In this system of haves and have-nots, I have not given in. I have gotten up, and I am still healing. I am me, but not alone. I am where I've been and with whom so far I've come. I am a battle not yet had, a war inevitable and closer to that edge. I am, no, we are the living dream. Brothers and sisters, I say, I am, we are change. Ashe.
When we talk about Imagining America, we often talk about our commitment to creating spaces where spirits and hearts meet minds for deep, impactful, sustained knowledge creation and healing.
We have come to understand that our work is the work of imagining. And what that means for us is that we need to interweave a stance and the work of criticism, taking a critical view of America, of our institutions, of our society, combined with an energizing.
Bringing in the light, and this is central for Imagining America and the work that we do at UC Davis and nationally through our national consortium, has always relied on carving out spaces to critically reflect, to dream, to experiment with one another, and to shift culture. Another central value that we hold dear in Imagining America is that how we work together in the process of piecing together a more humane world matters. As educational theorist Maxine Greene has said, freedom shows itself and comes into being when individuals come together in particular ways, when they are authentically present to one another, without masks, pretenses, badges of office, and when they have a project that they can mutually pursue.
For me, the key sentiment here is relationships. Relationships with the place where we locate our classrooms, conduct research, and install creative projects. Relationships with people with whom we work, including our many hyphenated communities and institutions of support. And relationships with practices, both symbolic and everyday, through which we identify a shared purpose, as well as those that we may critique in order to advance change.
And so Imagining America, I have to say thank you. And the reason why I have to say thank you is because you're an unusual suspect. You honor people. You honor stories. And in that, you create a more equal playing field.
I have a long history with Imagining America as someone who stumbled into what I would say my people, not as an artist, not really understanding my place in my discipline, but finding a community with that shared my values. This Southern California organizing is a way to kind of re-establish and multiply the idea of the kind of belonging and network that I think is so crucial to the work that we do individually on our campuses and collectively.
In a way, by bridging all of these institutions, I think it legitimizes these kind of what would just be singular efforts, and I think by making this more of a collective, I think it shows this kind of the power of arts, humanities, design in creating some significant change, and that's not just something that's happening in one institution, but it's actually something that's really happening across many institutions.
There are deep structural issues in higher education and in our cities that we must address both collectively and creatively. Imagining America is at the forefront of this extraordinary conversation on democracy and change. And I'm excited to join hands with you to extend this mission in useful directions for our shared futures.